What I'm about to tell you, it's not just a story. It's a confession, a warning, and a truth they tried to bury. For years, I dedicated my life to the ocean's deepest, darkest secrets. My name is Dr. Elias Thorne, and my world was the abyssal plain, the crushing depths where sunlight fears to tread. I wasn't some fringe theorist chasing UFOs. I was a marine geophysicist, a specialist in advanced sonar imaging and seismic mapping for a private research firm, Abyssal Ventures. Our mission was to uncover new mineral deposits, map uncharted trenches, and occasionally discover a bizarre new species of bioluminescent squid. My colleagues and I were scientists, grounded in data, logic, and the observable universe. We scoffed at anything that hinted at the fantastical. The ocean, in all its majestic, terrifying glory, was a realm of quantifiable phenomena. Or so I thought. It all began innocuously enough, during a routine deep-sea survey in the Challenger Deep, the deepest known point in Earth's oceans, nestled within the Mariana Trench. We were operating the Hadal Explorer, a state-of-the-art research vessel equipped with the latest in deep ocean technology. Our primary objective was to deploy a new generation of autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, to conduct high-resolution mapping of a previously unexplored fault line. It was tedious work, precise and demanding, but utterly devoid of drama, until the anomaly appeared. It was a faint, almost imperceptible blip on our long-range sonar, a ghost signal, flickering in and out of existence deep beneath the seafloor. Our lead sonar technician, a grizzled veteran named Miller, initially dismissed it as interference from a hydrothermal vent field, or perhaps a particularly dense concentration of deep-sea brine. "Just a pressure wave, playing tricks, Dr. Thorne," he'd grumbled, adjusting his headset. I concurred. Our equipment was cutting edge, but the ocean depths are a maelstrom of electromagnetic and acoustic noise. False positives were a daily occurrence. We tried to filter it out, recalibrate our sensors, and rerun the diagnostics. But the blip persisted. It wasn't just a random flicker. It was a singular, strong return, roughly 36,000 feet below the surface, far deeper than any known geological structure or biological congregation had ever been detected with such clarity. And it wasn't static. It moved, subtly, almost imperceptibly, in a pattern that defied natural explanation. It wasn't drifting with currents. It was maintaining a precise, almost artificial trajectory. We ran algorithms to compare it against known seismic activity, submarine topography, even hypothetical methane hydrate deposits. Nothing matched. "It's an energy signature, Elias," our lead data analyst, Dr. Anya Sharma, pointed out one evening, her brow furrowed in concentration as she stared at the glowing green lines on her screen. "Not acoustic, not magnetic, something else." She highlighted the spectral analysis. The signature was clean, remarkably coherent, unlike the chaotic noise generated by natural deep-sea phenomena. It was a pulse, rhythmic and consistent, emanating from a point deep within the abyssal crust. My initial dismissal quickly evaporated, replaced by a gnawing sense of unease. My scientific curiosity, however, was a far more potent force. My team, initially skeptical, began to share my growing fascination. The anomaly was a puzzle, a scientific enigma that demanded an answer. We spent days reanalyzing the data, cross-referencing it with historical records from previous expeditions. There was nothing like it. No recorded geological event, no known marine life, no previous human activity could account for this persistent, structured signal. The anomaly, once a faint blip, began to grow stronger, more defined, as if whatever was generating it was slowly, deliberately revealing itself. It wasn't random, it was a pattern, a sequence of pulses that seemed almost intelligent. It was as if something was calling out, or perhaps simply existing, in a way we couldn't comprehend. The implications were staggering, terrifying, and utterly exhilarating. Despite the risks, the immense financial cost, and the sheer audacity of the idea, I pushed for a closer look. Our firm's CEO, a pragmatic man focused solely on quarterly reports, was initially resistant. "Thorne, we're not running a sci-fi convention. Stick to the mission parameters." But the data, meticulously compiled by Anya, was compelling. The anomaly was a significant deviation from any known deep-sea phenomenon. It warranted further investigation. There was a chance, however slim, that it could be a previously unknown geological structure with valuable mineral deposits. That and my relentless insistence eventually swayed him. We rerouted the Hadal Explorer, abandoning our primary survey for a detour into the unknown. We were heading into the deepest, darkest part of the ocean, looking for a ghost. We found something far worse. Stick around, because this is where it gets really weird. My fascination with the ocean began long before the anomaly, nestled in the quiet solitude of my childhood. I was a solitary child, often found poring over tattered copies of Jacques Cousteau's books, his tales of silent worlds beneath the waves sparking an insatiable curiosity within me. The vibrant ecosystems, the mysterious trenches, the sheer vastness of the unexplored deep. It all called to me with a siren song. While other children dreamed of astronauts and superheroes, I dreamt of submersibles and ROVs, of discovering creatures that had never seen the sun. This early passion wasn't a fleeting fancy. It was a deep-seated conviction that steered my academic path with unwavering precision. My journey through academia was rigorous, a relentless pursuit of knowledge in the fields of marine geophysics, oceanography, and advanced acoustic technologies. I immersed myself in the intricacies of sonar mapping, the physics of deep-sea pressure, and the bewildering array of life forms that thrived in the most extreme environments on Earth. My doctoral thesis focused on developing new algorithms for subsurface imaging, pushing the boundaries of what was detectable in the abyssal plains. I was driven by a desire not just to observe, but to understand, to peel back the layers of the ocean's mysteries. This dedication eventually led me to Abyssal Ventures, a company known for its cutting-edge research and willingness to fund ambitious, if not always profitable, expeditions. Joining Abyssal Ventures was a dream come true. Our vessel, the Nautilus X, yes, the name was a deliberate homage, was less a ship and more a floating laboratory. It was equipped with an array of sensors, remotely operated vehicles, and a small, dedicated crew who shared my almost fanatical devotion to the deep. There was Anya, our brilliant data analyst, whose mind could untangle the most complex data sets. Miller, the gruff but exceptionally skilled sonar tech, and Captain Eva Rostova, a woman whose calm demeanor belied her years of navigating the world's most treacherous waters. We were a motley family, bound by a shared passion for the unknown, a collective desire to chart the unchartable. Our expeditions were, for the most part, triumphs of conventional science. We discovered new species of chemosynthetic organisms thriving around hydrothermal vents, mapped previously unknown seamount chains, and contributed significantly to our understanding of tectonic plate movements in the Pacific Rim. These were the mundane, yet deeply satisfying aspects of our work. Each new data point, each new photograph from the abyss, was a testament to the ocean's boundless secrets. We were explorers in the truest sense, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge, one deep dive at a time. But even amidst these routine discoveries, there were whispers, fleeting anomalies that, in hindsight, now scream for attention. I remember an incident years prior, during an expedition off the coast of Japan. Our sonar picked up a brief, incredibly powerful energy signature, far too coherent to be natural, far too transient to be fully analyzed. It vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving us scratching our heads. We chalked it up to equipment malfunction, a rogue cosmic ray, anything but what it truly might have been. It was an outlier, an anomaly among anomalies, quickly forgotten in the deluge of other data. Now, that forgotten incident resurfaced in my memory, a chilling premonition. It felt connected, a distant cousin to the signal we had just discovered in the Mariana Trench. The Pacific, I knew, was also a cradle of ancient myths and legends. Whispers from Pacific Island cultures spoke of strange lights beneath the waves, of ancient underwater cities, of beings from the deep that predated human memory. As a scientist, I had always dismissed these as folklore, the imaginative constructs of societies trying to explain the inexplicable. But as the anomaly in the Challenger Deep grew stronger, as its pattern became more deliberate, those ancient legends began to echo in my mind. Could there be a kernel of truth in them? Was it possible that what we considered mere myth was, in fact, a distorted memory of something truly extraordinary? The recurring anomaly became an obsession. I spent countless nights hunched over glowing screens, analyzing every pulse, every frequency shift, every subtle variation. I drew parallels to obscure theories I once scoffed at, fringe ideas about non-terrestrial intelligence, and advanced civilizations hidden beneath the waves. My colleagues initially met my growing fixation with a mixture of concern and gentle mockery. Miller would joke about me seeing things, while Anya would try to ground me in statistical probabilities. But as the data became undeniably structured, undeniably artificial, their skepticism began to wane. The scientific method demands that you follow the data, no matter where it leads. And our data was leading us somewhere truly unprecedented. The team dynamics shifted. The initial skepticism morphed into a shared sense of wonder, then unease, and finally, a collective resolve. We were no longer just scientists. We were pioneers on the cusp of something monumental. My reputation, my entire career, was on the line. Pursuing this anomaly meant diverting significant resources, risking equipment, and potentially exposing us to ridicule if it turned out to be nothing. But the scientific drive, that innate human need to understand, was stronger than any professional risk. I had to know, we all did. The ocean, my lifelong companion, was about to reveal a secret that would redefine everything I thought I knew. The ocean, my lifelong companion, was about to reveal a secret that would redefine everything I thought I knew. Planning the deep dive to the anomaly's source became an exercise in meticulous precision and calculated risk. We were aiming for the deepest, most hostile environment on Earth, a realm where pressure could crush even the strongest alloys, where light was an alien concept, and where a single equipment failure meant certain doom. Every component of our advanced submersible, the Triton 1s, was double-checked, triple-checked. Life support systems, redundant power sources, emergency ascent protocols. Every contingency was rehearsed until it became second nature. The challenges were immense. Maintaining structural integrity against pressures exceeding 16,000 pounds per square inch. Navigating in absolute darkness and ensuring our sensors could penetrate the dense, mineral-rich environment we expected to find. The descent was a slow, agonizing ballet of tension and anticipation. Hours bled into days as we gradually plunged deeper into the abyssal plain. The surface world, with its familiar sun and sky, receded into an increasingly distant memory. Aboard the Triton 1, a specially designed spherical titanium alloy submersible, the atmosphere was thick with a mixture of apprehension and exhilaration. Captain Rostova maintained a stoic calm, her hands steady on the controls, while Miller meticulously monitored the hull integrity, his eyes glued to the pressure gauges. Anya constantly sifted through the ever-increasing stream of data, searching for any deviation, any sign that our target was near. Outside, the ocean transformed. The last vestiges of twilight gave way to an inky blackness, so profound it felt like a physical presence. The submersible's powerful external lights cut through the void, illuminating bizarre, bioluminescent creatures that drifted past like spectral ghosts. It was an eerie beauty, a silent, crushing world that few humans had ever witnessed. As we passed the 20,000-foot mark, the world outside became truly alien. The constant creaking and groaning of the submersible's hull, protesting against the immense pressure, became our only soundtrack. Surface contact became increasingly tenuous, then finally ceased altogether, severing our last connection to the world we knew. We were utterly alone, adrift in an unimaginable void, propelled by curiosity and a touch of madness. Then, after what felt like an eternity, the anomaly, which had been a distant, pulsating blip on our sonar, began to resolve itself. Anya's voice, tight with controlled excitement, broke the silence. "Dr. Thorne, I'm getting structural returns. Very large, geometric, not geological." My heart hammered against my ribs. I leaned forward, pressing my face against the thick viewport. The Triton 1's powerful lights, initially illuminating only the endless darkness, now began to catch glimpses of something massive, something impossibly vast, looming out of the black. And then, there it was. Our lights cut through the perpetual darkness, revealing not a rock formation, not a volcanic vent, not even the wreckage of some forgotten human endeavor. It was a structure, massive, angular, impossibly precise. It wasn't natural, it was artificial. My breath hitched. A wave of profound awe, mixed with an almost primal fear, washed over me. "Dear God," I whispered, the words barely audible in the cramped confines of the submersible. Miller and Anya were silent, their faces illuminated by the eerie glow of the instrument panels, their expressions a mirror of my own disbelief. Captain Rostova's usually impassive face was etched with a stunned wonder. We had maintained radio silence for hours, but now, the unspoken communication between us was deafening. What we were seeing defied every scientific principle, every known limit of engineering. The sheer scale of the base was staggering. It wasn't just large, it was colossal, dwarfing anything humanity had ever constructed. It stretched across the abyssal plain for miles, its geometric forms rising hundreds of feet from the seafloor. The material it was made of was unlike anything I had ever encountered. It was a deep, obsidian black, absorbing every photon of light our submersibles could throw at it, making it seem like a tear in the fabric of reality itself. There were no visible joints, no rivets, no seams. It was a monolithic construct, as if poured into existence from a single, impossibly strong substance. It hummed with a silent, almost imperceptible energy that resonated deep within our bones. Our instruments, usually so reliable, began to go haywire. The energy fluctuations were off the charts, unprecedented in their intensity and complexity. Magnetic fields shifted erratically, defying terrestrial norms. The Triton 1's internal systems flickered, struggling to compensate. "Unprecedented energy signatures, Dr. Thorne," Anya exclaimed, her voice strained. "Fluctuations are off the scale. And there's a localized gravity anomaly, slight but definite." It was clear this wasn't just a structure. It was a power source, a machine of unimaginable capability. Driven by an instinct that transcended caution, I ordered Captain Rostova to approach closer. We tried various frequencies, hoping for a response, a sign of intelligence, anything that could make sense of this impossible discovery. Our sonar pings bounced off the dark surface, returning only a strange, rhythmic pulse that seemed to originate from within the structure itself. It wasn't a language, not in any conventional sense, but it was a pattern, a beat, a silent thrum of existence that filled the void. And then we saw it, an opening. Not a natural cave carved by geological forces, but a deliberate, almost seamless aperture in the obsidian wall. It was perfectly arched, its edges sharp and impossibly clean. It seemed to beckon us, an invitation into the unknown. The ethical dilemma was immediate and profound. Was it safe to enter? What were the implications of breaching what was unmistakably an alien construct? The risks were astronomical, the potential consequences unimaginable. But the narrator's drive for discovery, for answers, overrode all caution. This wasn't merely a scientific expedition anymore. It was an encounter with the impossible, a confrontation with a truth that promised to shatter every paradigm. "Captain," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "Prepare to enter. Slowly, carefully." My heart pounded a rhythm against my ribs that mirrored the strange pulses emanating from the alien base. We were at the doorstep of something impossible, and what we were about to do would change everything we thought we knew about our planet and ourselves. The submersible, guided by Captain Rostova's steady hands, carefully navigated through the immense, seamless opening. The transition was immediate and startling. One moment, we were enveloped by the crushing external pressure of the deep ocean. The next, we had passed into an environment of stable, almost breathable atmosphere. There was no airlock, no visible mechanism of transition. It was as if the very laws of physics bent to accommodate this alien space. The Triton 1 glided effortlessly into what felt like a vast, echoing chamber, the hum of its thrusters now the loudest sound in the strange, silent interior. The inner sanctum was breathtaking. We were in a space so immense that our powerful light struggled to illuminate its farthest reaches. Vast, cavernous chambers stretched out before us, their ceilings lost in the gloom high above. The walls were still the same obsidian black material, but here they pulsed with a soft, bioluminescent light that emanated from intricate patterns etched into the surface. It wasn't harsh or artificial. It was a gentle, living glow that cast long, dancing shadows, creating an atmosphere of profound mystery and ancient power. Unknown technology, hummed with silent energy, embedded seamlessly into the walls and floors. There were no visible wires, no crude mechanics. Everything was organic, flowing, and perfectly integrated. As we ventured deeper, we began to encounter alien artifacts. These weren't derelict ruins. Everything was functional, pristine, as if the occupants had merely stepped away moments before. Devices of unknown purpose floated in silent suspension, emitting soft, rhythmic pulses of light. Screens, unlike any human display, flickered with complex, indecipherable symbols. Some resembled geometric fractals, others intricate star maps, all designed with a precision and aesthetic that defied human comprehension. We were surrounded by technology that seemed to be alive, a silent testament to a civilization far beyond our own. Then, we stumbled upon what appeared to be a central chamber, a vast, circular space dominated by a colossal, crystalline structure at its heart. This was clearly the heart of the operation, the nerve center. It was a records room, an archive of unimaginable scope. As the Triton 1 approached, the crystalline structure pulsed with a sudden surge of light, and holographic projections flickered to life around us, filling the chamber with shimmering, three-dimensional imagery. These weren't mere static images. They were dynamic, interactive displays, constantly shifting and evolving. The data, however, was indecipherable at first. The projections displayed complex diagrams, intricate schematics, and what looked like sequences of events. But the language barrier was absolute. Strange symbols flowed across the holographic screens, accompanied by an underlying hum that seemed to resonate directly within our minds. A sensation that was both unnerving and strangely compelling. Anya frantically tried to interface with the systems, her fingers flying across her console. But our Earth-based technology was utterly incompatible. Through trial and error, however, we managed to activate some of the projections manually, perhaps by proximity or intent. The images that unfolded before us were beyond anything we could have ever imagined. We saw other star systems, nebulae, and galaxies rendered in stunning, dynamic detail. And then there were the beings. Tall, ethereal figures, radiating an inner light, interacting with advanced civilizations on countless worlds. They were clearly the architects of this place, the beings who had left this incredible archive. Their forms were fluid, almost iridescent, their movements graceful and purposeful. They were not monstrous or grotesque, but possessed an ancient, serene wisdom that radiated from the projections. It was then that we experienced a sudden, unsettling shift. It wasn't an attack, nothing aggressive or overtly hostile. But the air around us seemed to thicken. The bioluminescent hum intensified, and a faint, rhythmic pulse filled the chamber, resonating not just in the submersible, but deep within our very core. It was a subtle presence, an undeniable sense that we were being observed, not by physical beings, but by an unseen intelligence, a silent, all-encompassing awareness that had just acknowledged our presence. The Guardians, I thought, though they were not guards in any conventional sense. They were more like sentinels of knowledge, now fully aware of our intrusion. The projections shifted again, becoming more focused, more profound. They began to show Earth's past, but not as we knew it. Images of ancient civilizations, far more advanced than anything recorded in our history books, flickered before us. Pyramids radiating energy, vast cities built with impossible precision, technology that dwarfed our modern advancements. And interacting with these civilizations were the ethereal beings, the true architects, sharing knowledge, guiding development. It was a history erased, a timeline deliberately forgotten, a secret kept hidden for millennia. Then came the warning. The projections shifted to show catastrophic events, planetary shifts, cosmic alignments, and a sense of impending doom for Earth. It wasn't a static image, but a dynamic, evolving timeline, pointing ominously towards the near future. We saw visions of environmental collapse, societal breakdown, and cosmic threats that were utterly beyond our current understanding. The initial awe we felt at this incredible discovery turned to a rising terror. This wasn't just an archive of history. It was a confrontation with a hidden truth that challenged human existence itself. We were watching our past and our future unfold before us. And that's when we saw them. Or rather, what they wanted us to see. The projections became intensely focused, no longer merely displaying historical records, but communicating directly, bypassing language entirely. It wasn't through spoken words or written text, but through a torrent of concepts, emotions, and urgent warnings that flooded our minds. Powerful, vivid imagery intertwined with a deep, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate within our very consciousness, conveying a message of profound significance. We were experiencing a form of telepathic communication, a direct transfer of pure information from an intelligence far beyond our comprehension. The purpose of the base was laid bare before us. It was not a military outpost, nor a colonial venture. It was an observation post, a meticulously maintained historical archive, and a monumental time capsule, left by an ancient, benevolent alien civilization. They had been here, on Earth, for eons, quietly observing humanity's nascent development, guiding its early steps, and documenting its tumultuous journey. Their presence was a testament to their long-standing interest in our species, a silent vigil kept across millennia. The aliens then explained their intervention and the subsequent erasure of knowledge. At a critical juncture in Earth's early history, humanity was on a self-destructive path, poised to annihilate itself through technological hubris and unchecked aggression. To prevent this, the aliens had interfered, subtly altering key events, guiding our ancestors away from certain doom. But this intervention came with a price. To ensure humanity's organic evolution, free from overt alien influence, they had to reset certain knowledge and timelines, effectively erasing their direct involvement from human collective memory. It was a difficult choice they conveyed, but one made out of a deep respect for our potential and our right to forge our own destiny. They believed in the gift of free will, in humanity's inherent capacity for growth and self-determination. Direct, overt intervention would have stifled that growth, turning us into dependents rather than sovereign beings. So, they withdrew, leaving behind this silent sentinel, this archive, as a testament to their past presence and a potential beacon for our future. They allowed us to stumble, to learn from our mistakes, to evolve naturally, even if it meant forgetting the profound interactions that shaped our earliest civilizations. But the projections swiftly shifted back to the future warnings, the sense of urgency palpable. The threat was not another alien invasion, not an external hostile force. It was something far more insidious, something humanity, in its current state of amnesia, was utterly blind to. The reset, while preserving our free will, had also left us vulnerable. The projections showed a looming environmental catastrophe, not just from human actions, but from external cosmic forces. There were images of subtle energetic shifts, interdimensional disturbances, and a growing disharmony within the fabric of space-time itself, all converging on Earth. It was a cosmic danger, a profound imbalance that humanity was completely unprepared for, largely because the very knowledge that might have helped us understand and mitigate it had been erased. The weight of this knowledge crushed me. Everything I had ever believed about history, about science, about humanity's place in the universe, was a meticulously constructed lie. Our entire understanding of our past was a carefully curated narrative, designed to keep us ignorant of our true origins and our cosmic heritage. The initial awe I felt at discovering this base was now overshadowed by a profound sense of betrayal, not by the aliens, but by the very forces that had perpetuated this grand deception. As the final, most urgent warnings flickered across the holographic displays, a strange sensation permeated my being. The projections seemed to coalesce, focusing their energy on me, on my mind. It wasn't painful, but intensely profound. The aliens were embedding a piece of information, a seed of knowledge, directly into my consciousness. It felt like a complex download, a spiritual insight intertwined with advanced technological data. It wasn't a physical object, but an energetic signature, a key meant to be activated at a later time, a potential bridge between their ancient wisdom and our forgotten future. It was a burden, a responsibility, a solitary spark of truth in a world shrouded in illusion. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the communication ceased. A gentle but firm energy pulse emanated from the core of the base. It wasn't hostile, but it was an unmistakable signal, an undeniable command for us to leave. The Triton 1 systems, which had been struggling against the base's strange energies, found themselves gently but inexorably guided towards the entrance. Our visit was over. The unspoken message was clear. You have seen, you have heard. Now you must go. The return journey to the surface was silent, heavy with the newly acquired terrifying knowledge. The vibrant bioluminescence of the base faded, replaced by the oppressive, inky blackness of the deep ocean. The rhythmic pulses that had filled the chamber were gone, leaving only the creaking protest of the submersible's hull against the immense pressure. The team was changed, traumatized. Anya stared blankly at her console, her usual scientific fervor replaced by a distant, haunted look. Miller mechanically checked the systems, his movements stiff and unseeing. Even Captain Rostova, usually impervious to emotion, sat with a grave, distant expression, her hands resting limply on the controls. We had left that place with more than just data. We carried a truth that could either save humanity or shatter it completely. And the world was about to try and take it from us. The ascent was a blur of silence and dread. The world above us, once a beacon of familiarity, now seemed alien, trivial, and profoundly ignorant. As the Triton 1 broke the surface, the harsh glare of the sun felt like an assault, illuminating not just the ocean, but the raw, exposed nerves of our collective trauma. We had returned, but we were not the same. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness as our submersible bobbed gently on the waves. There was no welcoming committee, no excited chatter from our support vessel. Instead, the horizon was dominated by the imposing silhouettes of two heavily armed destroyers, their gray hulls bristling with weaponry. As we watched, smaller, faster military crafts, detached from their sides, racing towards us with unnerving speed. This was not our company, nor any government agency we recognized. This was an unknown, heavily armed military or intelligence group, and their intentions were unmistakably clear. We were intercepted. Before we could even fully disembark, our vessel was swarmed. Black-clad figures, their faces obscured by tactical gear, moved with chilling efficiency. They were professionals, highly trained, and utterly devoid of emotion. Our support ship, the Nautilus X, was already under their control, its crew rounded up and confined. All data, every single recording, every physical sample we had meticulously collected, was confiscated. They swept through the Triton 1 unit with surgical precision, extracting hard drives, removing memory cards, even dismantling some of our instruments. It was a complete and systematic seizure, leaving no trace of our incredible journey. Then began the interrogations. We were separated, taken to makeshift holding cells on one of the destroyers. The rooms were stark, cold and soundproof, designed to disorient and isolate. The interrogators were relentless, their questions circling like vultures, probing every detail of our expedition, every observation, every feeling. They didn't shout. Their voices were calm, measured, almost soothing, which only made their veiled threats more terrifying. They spoke of national security, global stability, and the catastrophic consequences of revealing such sensitive information. They spoke of our futures, our careers, and chillingly, of our families. The implication was clear. Speak, and not only would our lives be ruined, but those we loved would suffer. It was psychological warfare, designed to break us, to instill a fear so profound that silence would become our only refuge. Within days, an official story was disseminated to the media. Our expedition, a groundbreaking journey into the deepest part of the ocean, was reduced to a minor equipment malfunction, a brief and uneventful dive, or at best, a geological discovery of no particular significance. Our names were purged from the official records of the expedition. The Triton I's logs, the Nautilus X manifests, everything was scrubbed clean. It was as if we had never left port, as if the Mariana Trench had never yielded its impossible secret. Our discovery, our truth, was being systematically erased from public consciousness. The crew members, my colleagues, my friends, began to disappear. Anya, with her brilliant mind and insatiable curiosity, was reportedly reassigned to a remote meteorological station in the Arctic, a place where no deep-sea data would ever cross her path. Miller, the stoic and dependable engineer, was rumored to have taken an early forced retirement, suffering from unexplained health issues. Others simply vanished without a trace, their families given vague explanations of classified assignments or unfortunate accidents. I understood then, with a chilling clarity, that we were being silenced, our knowledge deemed too dangerous for the world. Through a combination of cunning and sheer luck, I managed to retain a fragment of data. It wasn't a physical recording or a hard drive, but a small, almost imperceptible piece of the alien material, disguised as a geological sample. I had palmed it during the initial chaos, a desperate act of defiance. It was my insurance, my hidden proof, but the fear was constant, a cold knot in my stomach. I went into hiding, severing all ties, living off the grid, constantly looking over my shoulder. Every shadow was a potential threat, every unfamiliar face a potential operative. The world I once knew had become a labyrinth of surveillance and suspicion. Yet, amidst the terror and isolation, something began to stir within me. The seed of knowledge. The energetic imprint left by the aliens began to manifest. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic transformation, but a gradual awakening. My intuition sharpened, my senses heightened. Dreams became vivid, prophetic visions, not of the future, but of interconnectedness, of cosmic patterns, of a deeper reality beyond our limited perception. I began to understand the alien message not just as a warning, but as a spiritual insight, a key to unlocking a higher consciousness. It wasn't just about advanced technology. It was about the very fabric of existence, about consciousness and spirituality. I found myself connecting with the subtle energies of the earth, understanding patterns in nature that I had previously dismissed as mere coincidence. The fear, once paralyzing, slowly began to transmute into a burning desire for justice and truth. I couldn't let humanity remain blind to the coming threat, to the grand deception that had been perpetrated upon us. The knowledge I carried was too profound, too critical to be silenced. The weight of this secret was crushing, but it also fueled an unshakable resolve. I had been chosen, for reasons I still didn't fully comprehend, to bear this truth, and I would not let it die with me. The decision to speak was not made lightly. It was a conscious choice to risk everything: my life, my freedom, my last vestiges of anonymity. I knew the immense danger, the powerful forces arrayed against me. But the alternative, to live in perpetual fear, to allow humanity to stumble blindly towards a future it was unprepared for, was a fate far worse than any personal sacrifice. They tried to silence me. They erased the records, but they couldn't erase what I saw, or what was planted deep inside me. And now, I'm ready to fight back. Are you ready to listen? The alien message, once a jumble of concepts and emotions, began to coalesce into a coherent narrative within my mind. The key they had embedded, that spiritual insight intertwined with advanced technological data, was slowly unlocking the full scope of their warnings. It was as if a veil was being lifted, revealing layers of understanding I never knew existed. I started to perceive the nuances of their communication, the intricate patterns of their holographic projections, and the true gravity of the situation they had tried to convey. I realized that the aliens weren't just warning us about a single, impending disaster, but about a critical nexus point for Earth. They spoke of multiple timelines, divergent realities, each one branching off based on the collective choices humanity made in this pivotal era. The erasure of our past interactions, the deliberate resetting of our historical memory, was not an act of malice. It was an attempt to guide humanity towards a more positive, harmonious timeline, one where we would evolve organically, without the crutch of advanced alien technology or the fear of a dominant cosmic power. But now, that intended path was threatened again, not by external invaders, but by forces far more insidious. The true danger, as the alien message made terrifyingly clear, wasn't another alien invasion or a hostile extraterrestrial force. It was a fidel, insidious shadow threat that was already deeply embedded within our own collective consciousness and the very fabric of our reality. They described it as a cosmic energy shift, a dimensional rift that was slowly widening, or perhaps even a collective unconscious negative feedback loop. This force, whatever its precise nature, fed on fear, division, and ignorance. It thrived on humanity's internal conflicts, its petty squabbles, its insatiable greed, and its relentless drive toward self-destruction. It was pushing humanity towards a darker timeline, one where our planet would either be consumed by internal strife or become uninhabitable due to our own neglect and the escalating cosmic energies. This wasn't an enemy we could fight with weapons. It was a battle for the soul of our species. The aliens emphasized, with profound clarity, that technological advancement alone would not save humanity. Our rockets to Mars, our artificial intelligence, our genetic engineering, all of it was meaningless if our collective consciousness remained mired in fear and separation. They stressed the paramount importance of spiritual evolution, of cultivating empathy, compassion, and unity. It was about recognizing our shared humanity, our interconnectedness with all life, and our place within the vast, living cosmos. The solutions to the looming threats lay not in more powerful machines, but in a radical shift in our collective mindset, a profound awakening of our spiritual potential. Through their embedded seed, I began to understand that I was not alone in receiving this profound knowledge. The aliens had revealed that throughout Earth's long history, particularly during other critical junctures, they had subtly intervened, not with overt displays of power, but by implanting similar seeds or insights into certain individuals. These chosen few, often unknowingly, became catalysts for change, guiding humanity away from self-destruction, inspiring new philosophies, scientific breakthroughs, or spiritual movements. They were the prophets, the visionaries, the quiet revolutionaries whose ideas subtly shifted the course of human history. I realized I was merely one in a long lineage, tasked with carrying a piece of this ancient, cosmic wisdom. The alien message was, in essence, a profound call to action. It urged humanity to remember its true potential, to overcome its deep-seated divisions, and to prepare for the coming shift, not with fear, but with wisdom and unity. It was a plea for us to reconnect with our spiritual heritage, to embrace our collective power, and to consciously choose the path towards a brighter future. The timeline was short, the event approaching, and the window for this collective awakening was rapidly closing. This knowledge had fundamentally transformed me. The world I once inhabited felt like a distant memory. I no longer feared death. The concept itself seemed trivial in the face of cosmic truths. My greatest fear now was ignorance, the collective blindness that threatened to consume us all. My life had become a singular mission: to share this truth, to ignite that spark of awareness in others. As a subtle, almost subconscious act, I found myself tracing a complex geometric pattern on a piece of paper, pattern that had been downloaded directly into my mind. It pulsed with an almost imperceptible energy, a diagram of interlocking symbols and equations that transcended any known human mathematics. It was a piece of the alien technology, a specific frequency signature, a visual representation of the key they had given me. It was my subtle proof, a hint of the impossible, something that could not possibly be of Earth origin, hinting at the hidden reality I now carried within me. The urgency of the situation pressed down on me with an almost physical weight. The event was approaching, not years away, but possibly within my lifetime, perhaps even sooner. The choice was ours, humanity's. This isn't just my story, it's our story. What are we going to do with this truth? Are you ready to see beyond the veil? My life now is a constant dance on the edge of a knife, a tightrope walk between revelation and obliteration. I live off the grid, a ghost in the digital age, always looking over my shoulder, every unfamiliar face a potential threat, every sudden noise a jolt of adrenaline. The familiar comforts of a stable life are long gone, replaced by the stark necessities of survival and the relentless pursuit of a singular, all-consuming purpose. I move from place to place, never staying too long, my existence meticulously erased from official records, a mirror image of the truth they tried to bury. Yet, despite the pervasive fear and the gnawing loneliness, I am driven by an unshakable resolve, a fire ignited by the alien truth. The responsibility I carry is immense, a burden that would crush a lesser soul. Knowing what I know, seeing the true trajectory of humanity, is a solitary existence. It's the loneliness of understanding a truth so profound, so paradigm-shattering, that most people are simply unwilling or unable to comprehend it. They cling to their comfortable illusions, their carefully constructed realities, oblivious to the cosmic currents that are shaping their destiny. Explaining it to them often feels like speaking a foreign language, a dialect of the soul they have long forgotten. This isolation is perhaps the heaviest price I pay, the silent scream of a Cassandra, cursed to see the future, but never to be believed. Yet, amidst this profound darkness, there flickers a persistent, unwavering flame of hope. The alien message, while a stark warning, was not a prophecy of inevitable doom. It was, at its core, a guide, a map to a different future, a testament to humanity's inherent capacity for growth and transformation. They didn't just show us what we were doing wrong. They showed us what we could be. They offered a path, not a predetermined fate. This hope is my anchor, preventing me from succumbing to despair, reminding me that even in the face of overwhelming odds, choice remains. I've learned to see the world differently, to perceive the subtle energies and synchronistic patterns that once eluded me. I see the signs everywhere now, in the collective anxieties, the yearning for deeper meaning, the burgeoning spiritual awakening that is quietly sweeping across the planet. I believe there are others, perhaps unknowingly, who have also received similar seeds or insights. They might not have encountered an alien base 36,000 feet below the Pacific, but they feel the same unease, the same intuitive pull towards a greater truth. They are the artists, the philosophers, the quiet innovators, the healers, the empathic souls who are already working to shift the collective consciousness. This is why I'm reaching out now, breaking my self-imposed silence, risking everything to share this story. I ask you, the listener, to look for these signs, to question the official narratives that seek to compartmentalize and control our understanding of reality. Don't simply accept what you are told. Dig deeper. Feel with your heart, not just with your mind. Connect with others who share a similar unease, a similar spiritual calling. Seek out those who speak of unity, empathy, and conscious evolution, for they are the harbingers of the new timeline. The aliens' most profound revelation was about the power of collective consciousness. They showed me that our shared thoughts, our collective emotions, our unified intentions possess an incredible power to shift timelines, to alter the very fabric of our reality. We are not passive observers in this cosmic drama. We are active co-creators. If enough of us awaken, if enough of us choose empathy over division, cooperation over competition, consciousness over ignorance, we can collectively steer ourselves away from the precipice. We can manifest a future where humanity thrives, where we take our rightful place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as conscious custodians of life. So, I offer you this final warning, but also this empowerment. They tried to erase it from our records, but they can't erase it from our hearts, from our minds. The truth is out there, and it's within each of us. Don't let them keep you sleeping. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the whispers of your soul, the intuitive knowing that there is more to this existence than meets the eye. This is just the beginning. There's so much more to uncover, more proof to share, more questions to answer. If this resonated with you, if you feel that spark, then subscribe. Hit that notification bell and join me on this journey. Because together, we might just be able to rewrite our future. We might just be able to remember who we truly are. As I speak these words, a faint, almost imperceptible hum resonates through the small, isolated cabin I currently inhabit. It's not a sound heard with the ears, but felt deep within the chest, a low thrum that vibrates through the very air. Outside, beyond the single grimy window, the moon casts long, skeletal shadows across the desolate landscape. A single, fleeting glint of metallic light catches my eye, high above, moving with impossible speed, then vanishes. I smile, a grim, knowing smile. They are listening. They are watching. And the event is closer than any of us dare to imagine. The game has begun,